Hey everybody, just going to talk about what I did with the gas pedal in my BMW. I'll just dive right into it here. It's not too complicated. So just speaking about DBW and what's going on, I found this image. It's a really good illustration. Basically, you of course have a battery and you have a sensor in your gas pedal. You actually have two of them, and then you have a motor out attached to your throttle body. Um, so when to give you kind of a background and why they're doing what they're doing, a long time ago I worked at a dealership, a Honda dealership, and we had a neighboring Mitsubishi dealership just across the road from us, and a customer took a car, kind of a late 90s Mitsubishi out for a test drive, and they didn't get too far out of the parking lot because, well, they kind of did, unfortunately. The cable actuated throttle in that Mitsubishi got stuck. It mostly full open throttle. They went through some bushes, down through the little main avenue, Grand Avenue of the dealership there, through some more bushes, up into a lot, and then slammed right into a brand new, at the time, Accord two-door EX coupe with the six-speed stick shift in it, and just decimated it. The customer, of course, ended up trying to sue the dealership, and the dealership, I think, kept him happy by just giving him a free car and keeping everything quiet. But that did happen, and that's one of the things is a lot of people were scared of DBW when it came out. So engineers, they actually put two sensors in the gas pedal, and you end up having two throttle position sensors out at the throttle itself. And it's just for redundancy. The computer compares the two sensor values, and the idea being that one of the sensors if it might fail prematurely, and the two values are different, then something's wrong, and it just puts the car in limp home mode, so that it gives you very limited operation. It's enough to get home, but not enough that where you might be driving around and your car just decides to do a uncommanded acceleration or decel or something like that. So that was the whole concern regarding that system. So between General Motors and BMW, it's the same concept. It's the same idea. They really never did anything different. Um, but that being said, yes, there are six wires in the BMW and six wires in your donor vehicle. But the problem is that the ohm range of that BMW pedal sensor, the sensors there, it's too far out of whack for the TAC module. So you'll end up in just limp home mode, and the system will never work. You won't. I think you might make it through a couple gear shifts, whatever, and then it's just going to be stuck in limp home mode and say no. So I don't even try wiring it. You're just going to set yourself up for some problems. So here is the actual translation matrix I created to wire it up. The pin, I just went ahead and gave the pins a letter so that it's like a common reference point. The sensor itself, there's like a 3 or 4 inch long run of wire at the on the sensor that is a different color wire than what the BMW body harness is and what the schematic is. So you'll want to pay attention to those two, column 2 and 3. Column 4, the schematic ID is just what they called it in the schematic, and in the signal description, that's what that wire is doing, and then I just put in the GM wire equivalent there on the right. That's what's actually going to be wired into your TAC module out under the hood. So you don't have to follow this. There are 6 wires. You can mix and match any way you like, as long as I just did this because it made sense to me. And there's explaining the chart. You can actually see the diagram there, and what's going on in that little ABCD picture there. That is viewing the pedal connector from the pin side. So that's the side of the connector you would only see if you unplugged it. So you'll see holes there, and that's that. The wires come in through the back. So you're just looking at the face of it right there, and then that's your reference point for wiring it up. And you could see in the schematic here, actually, there's your X60004 connector. They broke it up into 2 separate parts here. I don't know why, but this DME up here and this DME down here are the same thing. So yeah, and this is your pedal position sensor. So that's it. So there you go on the explanation there. And then also this is out in the e-box on the X60000 4 connector. I even put the letters here in the little pinout so you can see what I'm talking about. You can just use this as a reference if you want to do it. I still would caution you that you try to follow the wire colors at least, like double check and verify a few things. Maybe BMW changed some stuff over the years. Maybe you've got a pre-98 model or something and it was something different or whatever. I don't know. But that's something you're going to want to take into consideration. Finally, on the last note, cruise control. If you do want to try and get your steering wheel buttons to work, just know that those communicate on the body bus of the BMW. They don't actually go out to anything other than just that bus, and then normally they would be picked up by the DME, and the DME would tell the throttle what to do. Since the model of GM I'm discussing has a TAC module, that TAC module is actually what controls your cruise control. And it's expecting like a momentary switch, kind of like a 12-volt signal shot to it real quick to one of the wires on the TAC module. Say, hey, you know, just turned on the cruise control, or you're asking to cancel the cruise control, or change the speed or whatever. That's something there. If you're gonna try and do that, you're gonna need to create some kind of CAN bus decoder, like an Arduino, and have that set up to where it can decode the buttons, and then turn those into 12-volt momentary signals that go out to the TAC module and tell it what to do. So that's pretty much it for the gas pedal. A couple notes. When I was going through this, I went out to the junkyard, just grabbed whatever TAC module I could find, and then I found out that the 4.8s actually have a different TAC module than that of the 5.3 or the 6.0. So take note of what the part number is on your TAC module. That's going to be important later on when you get your when you get your ECU programmed. They're going to want to know that. And the two are not by no means compatible. The other part about it is on the when I installed the gas pedal, I used the truck pedal because that's what I got the engine from. So I put that in the car, and like I basically just cut it in half, and then I took the sensor off of the pedal and just set it on the bench, and I mocked it up in the car that way, and then just kind of set it there until I had it the way I want it, and then just tacked it a couple times with the welder, and then took it out and finished it on the bench. And then mounting the holes into the firewall, all I did was just I think I found one hole that actually lined up pretty well, and I just used that. And then there were two other holes. I had to drill some holes and put some riv nuts in the firewall to have somewhere to bolt to in there. But once I did that, it bolted pretty well. Just like when you're welding that pedal and fabricating everything, make sure the sensor's off of there. You don't want to try and send any kind of voltage through that sensor, and also the heat alone from the welder might damage the sensor. But on the upside is that you can remove the sensor. So in the future, after you've fabricated this pedal, and let's say you're out somewhere and the sensor decides to die, you can grab the truck pedal sensor at AutoZone or whatever and just change out the sensor portion without having to reconstruct the pedal or anything like that. So that's all I've got going on for my pedal, and it's working great. And I've got a full pedal sweep. When I look in the scan tool, it goes 0 to 100%. So that's it, guys.